Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is part three of our series on the Queen's Gambit Decline Exchange Variation. We were looking at the three most common plans in the Queen's Gambit Decline, and now we are on the third and what I feel probably the most risky and aggressive of them all. So let's get started. This game is from the Men's Olympiad in 1988. World champion Gary Kasparov with the white pieces versus Grandmaster Daniel Campora with the black pieces. So this game transposing the Queen's Gambit Decline, of course. After d5 here, c takes, e takes d5, and after the exchange variation, bishop g5, bishop e7, e3, castle, bishop d3, knight bd7, and here we go. We see knight ge2. Again, we saw that used in the last video where Kasparov combined these plans of b4 and f3 and e4 to great effect. So here we see the second plan, but without the idea of b4 mixed in. So queen c2, knight f8, and now here we see why b4 was not played in this instance. And that's because Kasparov is going for the juggler here. He must have been in a fighting spirit. He probably took his watch off and everything. And so we can see that the lines have been drawn. All right. A lot of dynamic play. So king b1, right, making that extra move as we often do when we castle queenside. Knight g4, threatening a fork on f2 as well as threatening to capture this bishop on g5. There's a common theme that you'll see often too in the Queen's Gambit Decline Exchange Variation. Is this trade-off of bishops usually benefits black. Excuse me, scratch that. Usually benefits white, I'm sorry. Okay, so queen takes e7. Now knight f4. That deals with the fork threat on f2. But notice how, again, a little jewel of information. Notice how, although Kasparov is facing this threat, he doesn't make any type of passive move like rook f1 or something like that. Even though it would be playable, right? Instead, he looks for a move that takes care of the defensive task, right? Because now with the knight move, the queen is protecting this, but he also creates a threat of his own. Best kind of move to make. Campora makes a purely defensive move, so this is equivalent to just white gaining a move, basically. With that move, he goes into his tried and true plan of f3 here. Now, with the king castled on the queen side, he not only has options of playing this traditional plan of e4, etc., e5, and playing on the king's wing, but he also can afford to throw these pawns up. So a lot more options. Again, it's dangerous for white too because he is on a semi-open C file, and as you can see, black wants to open it. Kasparov plays G4 here. Of course, options are D takes C5 here. Play could go queen takes C5, rook HE1, rook HC8. Queen b3, h6, and these are just sample lines of play that would be typical from both sides here. I like white's position a little better here as his attack is going to reach first. Another option for white is also bishop b5 attacking the rook, and then the same idea with g4. G5, etc. Here, Kasparov just plays the move G4, and the only issue I have with that move is just this move right here. Is C4. I wonder what Kasparov was planning to play here because it seems to knocks the bishop out of commission for a little while. Perhaps he was maybe have an idea of playing this move right here and then forcing this exchange here and opening up the G file. But the problem is this pawn right here would be hanging. So that's an interesting question to me. So g4 was played, and Campora played the natural c takes d4 because, after all, you want to open up the position as soon as possible. E takes d4, queen d6, hitting the knight, queen d2, a6, ideas of b5, also keeping white's pieces off b5, knight ce2, rook e7, knight g3, just bringing the storm to black on the king side, knight g6, Kasparov keeps the pieces on the board. What else? Knight d7, rook h to g1, rook e8, and rook df1. And here comes Kasparov. So all the game is kind of equal here. I mean, white has an advantage. We can see whose attack is more developed. And usually in positions, again, where you have opposite wing castling, the initiative is of the utmost importance. Of course, the initiative is always important, but especially in situations where the game is going to be determined by an attack on the king, having that extra move or extra tempo and having that lead as far as having your attack started early is of the utmost importance. And you can see here that white's attack is more advanced than black's. King h8. And you can see that Campora feels the same way, as he's already making defensive moves and on his side of the board, as opposed to trying to, say for instance, move a rook to the c file or something like that. Okay, he's trying to resist the attack instead of countering with his own attack. g6. Again, this is one of those double-edged moves because black's dark squared bishop has been traded off early. We saw that in the last game where Nigel Short was victimized because he didn't have his dark squared bishop. That's why I say that that trade usually is beneficial to the player of the white pieces. Brilliant move by Kasparov, as we know, he was a brilliant, still is a brilliant tactician. So he just left the knight there, and again with all of the pieces built up on the king side, Kasparov has no problem sacrificing the knight in order to open the position for the rest of his pieces. After g takes h5, simply f5, right? So it's a pseudo sacrifice. h4, again Campora is trying to keep things closed. F takes, and now g5, rook e7. Knight g4, and I want you to notice too, black has not been able to conduct an attack at all on the queen side. It's too busy fending off threats from white. Rook g7, knight h6, queen b6, attacking the d pawn, and of course Kasparov totally ignores that. g6 now, h takes g6, knight f7 check. Now king g8, queen h6, just very, very powerful stuff here. If rook takes f7, then just simply bishop takes g6. It's too much, because the rook on the g file is too strong. So how could the game go here? This is all you can do at this point. And how do you stop everything here? So knight f6. Then you can just play rook takes f6 here. If you want to get fancy, just throw that in there, because you have the same thing going on. King takes f7, and queen takes f6, king e8, and then you can see the mop up of material. So back to the game. Rook h7 was played after queen h6. Of course, rook takes g6. What else? Knight takes, queen takes, rook g7 from Campora, and then just simply queen h6 with the threat of mate down here on h8. All right, so very, very strong chess by Kasparov there. If rook takes f7, just simply rook g1, and that's going to lead to mate because rook g7 is forced, and then you know the rest from there. So again, I hope you enjoyed that video. That's the third plan, right? That's the, there's little, there's the rest of the games are pretty much combinations of those three plans. Either you have the plan from white, whether you're attacking on the queen side and trying to attack the c pawn, right? The chain, and bringing the pawn base from b7 to c6, right? The old plan you saw Sammy Reshevsky do. Or you had the plan of f3, e4, etc. that you saw Kasparov do, where he castles king side still, where he implemented that plan against Nigel Short. Or you see this plan right here, which is probably the most aggressive plan, where white castles opposite side of the board of black and basically goes for broke. So those are three plans that you can, study and play depending on your playing style. What we'll do in the next part is we'll look at some, typical black typical ways black deals with white's plan in the position. And like I said, you'll be able to see the evolution. We'll start with some old school game, and then we'll look and see how the plans have evolved into what you see today. But now you have at least some kind of starting point. So what I would do if I was trying to learn this opening, I would pick one plan and just try to run with it. Right? Don't try to learn all the plans. Just pick one plan and see how it works out for you. Okay, so again, hope you liked the video. Please like, subscribe. Check the links below for DVDs related to this opening, which is the Queen's Gambit Declined Exchange Variation. And also, please donate to my channel. It's greatly appreciated. So with that, like and subscribe and comment below, and so I can laugh when I read the comments. And I'll see you guys on the next video.